You're listening to a New York Jets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the team's latest goings-on as only he can. Follow him on Twitter @RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, Jets fans! Welcome to another New York Jets recap here on the Jacob Valk Show. I am the Jacob Valk, except no imitation. I think every Jets fan, and you can include me in this group, now has a new favorite player. How can you not be in awe of what Mike White did? How can you not be really happy for him? Here's a guy who's been in the NFL for 4 years. The team that drafted him, the Dallas Cowboys, gave up on him very early. Only made it through one season. He ends up with the Jets. He's a practice squad player. He gets cut whenever he's promoted. Like, any team in the NFL could have picked this guy up, and they didn't. It seemed like he was never going to get a chance. No one outside of the Jets organization was comfortable with this guy as the backup quarterback. In fact, there were some people within the Jets organization that weren't comfortable with him as the backup quarterback. You know how I know that? Because the Jets just traded for Joe Flacco. But White comes in and has an incredible game. This guy threw for 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. The 2 picks that he threw weren't his fault. His receivers just couldn't hold on to the ball. This guy comes in and executes the offense perfectly, and now has the 7th highest mark for passing yards in a game this year. I don't know if any other quarterback threw for 400 yards. And obviously we have the Monday night game, but at most he'll be at 7. I mean, I'll tell you, I was there. No one in that building thought the Jets were going to win that game. No one had any faith in Mike White. Here's how bad it was. The Jets offense usually gets the special introduction before the game. They go player by player, saying tackle, guard, wide receiver, etc., etc. They didn't do that. They did that for the defense, not the offense. 99% of Jets fans wouldn't know Mike White if he came to their house and delivered them a pizza. Now, this guy is the second coming of Joe Namath. This guy won a game against a Bengals team that's probably going to make the playoffs this year. And now there are real questions surrounding the future of the quarterback position for the Jets. I'm not going to get into that now. I want to get into the game itself first. But Mike White has forced some really tough questions. I mean, one of the stories of this game, besides the emergence of Mike White, is the fact that the Bengals had a lot of opportunities to land kill shots, and they didn't. Think about the first White interception. First and goal at the 1. The Bengals are getting a touchdown there, right? They're going to tie this game at 7, and that's going to be the start of the route. I mean, I'll tell you, I drove in to MetLife Stadium partially because I wanted the freedom to leave early if the game was a 40-0 route. I didn't want to stand outside MetLife Stadium waiting for a bus to take me to Port Authority. Let me drive in, I'll leave early, I'll beat the traffic. After that first interception, it's like, okay, here we go. This is going to start the blowout. But then the Jets pull off a great goal line stand. The Bengals didn't have a single positive play on that drive. Loss of one, incomplete pass, loss of 12. Absolutely incredible. I mean, that's an opportunity right there for the Bengals to land a kill shot. It shuts the crowd up. It gets the Bengals fans really into the game. It's first and goal at the 1. How on earth do you not score there? What are with these teams and not scoring on goal-to-go situations? You saw it in the Thursday night game. The Packers couldn't punch it in. Nearly cost them the game. The Bengals can't punch it in. That cost them the game. Flat out. If they score a touchdown there, they win. There was another big moment. The Bengals were up 14-7 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. White throws a strike to Jamison Crowder. Crowder's running with it. Seems like this is going to be a really big play for the Jets. Then Von Bell strips the ball. Big momentum shifter. Instead of having a chance to tie the game, the Jets now need to try to hold the Bengals. Then the first play is that crazy double pass, Tyler Boyd to Joe Mixon. First and goal at the 7. Burrow threw 3 incomplete passes. The only time the Bengals gained yards was when Quinnen Williams committed encroachment. You have first and goal at the 7. You have second and goal at the 3. A field goal there doesn't work for me. It was the right decision by Zach Taylor to kick the field goal because you went for it on fourth and goal at the 3 in the first quarter and it didn't work. But you've got to punch it in before that. 2 golden opportunities to put up touchdowns, and the Bengals blew it. Again, that's the difference right there. That made the score 17-7. The Jets drive down the field and score a touchdown after Keelan Cole gets screwed out of a touchdown. I don't know how on earth that's not a catch. Braxton Berrios with a great toe drag makes it 17-14 Bengals. The Jets went into the half down 3, and it's like, okay, I feel good about this. I'd obviously rather be leading, but down 3 to this Bengals team, hey, the Jets have a chance. That's all you can ask for. Then it seemed like the Bengals were going to pull away. About 7.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Tyler Boyd catches a touchdown pass. It's 31-20 at this point. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. The Jets drive down the field. Even when they had 1st and 20, they got a first down. Somehow, some way, Ty Johnson is able to power his way into the end zone. Makes it 31-26 because the Jets couldn't convert the 2-point try. But the Jets are down 5 here. 4.5 minutes left. All the Bengals have to do is execute offensively, and the Jets never get the ball back. The Bengals win this game. The last thing on earth you're expecting is an interception. The Jets haven't had an interception all year. No way their first one is going to come at the biggest time of the game. But it did. Shaq Lawson gets an interception. Shaq freaking Lawson. Not Marcus May. Not CJ Mosley. Shaq Lawson gets the pick. 2 plays later, White finds the former Bengal Tyler Croft in the end zone. And then the Jersey special. Jamison Crowder to Mike White for the 2-point try. I saw it unfolding right in front of me. It's like, they have White open. They have White open. And he caught it. The Jets defense stepped up. On 3rd and 11, Burrow got sacked. Made it 4th and 19. You have to punt there and hope that your defense can stop Mike White. They didn't. The Jets won the most improbable game that they've won in a long time. This is more improbable than their 2 wins last year. Their 2 wins last year came with Sam Darnold at quarterback. Say what you want about Sam Darnold, but at least he started week 1. At least you knew who he was. No one knew anything about Mike White. I went on this show a bunch of times and said that the Jets needed to add a backup quarterback because Mike White isn't going to get the job done. I was not alone in that, but obviously I was wrong. Obviously White has talent. Now White has the 2nd most passing yards in his first NFL start ever, behind only Cam Newton. White has 405, Newton has 422. He's also the first Jets quarterback to throw for over 400 yards since Vinny Testaverde in 2000. He is the first backup quarterback to win a game for the Jets since Bryce Petty beat the Niners on December 11th, 2016. The Jets have had to start more backups than you'd like them to since that game. Petty for 4 more games. Josh McCown was a backup for a little bit. Trevor Siemian, when he got hurt on Monday Night Football against the Browns, ended his season. The 2 Luke Falk games, which were absolute jokes. And Joe Flacco last year. For the longest time, you thought the only way that the Jets had a chance to win was with their starting quarterback. They don't have the depth to win with a backup. But not for nothing, 4 backup quarterbacks won this week. Geno Smith, Trevor Siemian, Cooper Rush, and Mike White. That's pretty impressive. What's Robert Saleh's theory? The difference between player A and player Z is just reps and opportunity. You tell these guys they're not starters. Hey, It's hard to disagree with that theory right now. Leaving that stadium, everyone was chanting Mike White's name. What a feeling that must be. I mean, this guy had to be thinking at some point, I'm never going to start an NFL game. Maybe I'll be a backup, maybe I'll get into some games, and maybe I can carve out a career as a backup, but I'm never going to start. My dream is dead. No young quarterback coming into the NFL says, I want to be a career backup. They want to start. For the longest time, it seemed like White's dream was dead. But he resurrected it yesterday. He resurrected it to the point that people were chanting his name. And after that third kneel down, the little fist pump that he did, how can you not be happy for him? Even if you're a Bengals fan. Sure, be upset that your team lost. You lost a game that you should have won easily. But how do you not feel a little happy for Mike White? This guy had MetLife Stadium chanting his name in unison. There were people saying that when Zach Wilson comes back, White needs to remain the starter. Mike White, for time immemorial, will be a Jets fan favorite. It doesn't matter if he lays an egg against the Colts and the Bills, and then Wilson comes back and that's it. He never plays another down for the Jets. This guy will always be a fan favorite for putting together one of the most improbable games in NFL history. I mean, this is a big win for the Jets. I understand that this is a lost season. I understand that they're not making the playoffs. But you can still have big wins in that type of a season. And this is the biggest win the Jets have had since the overtime game against the Patriots in 2015. Again, this is bigger than their 2 wins last year. It's bigger than any win they had in 2019. 2018, no. 2017, no. 2016, no. You have to go back to 2015, the penultimate week of the season, when the Jets beat the Patriots in MetLife Stadium in overtime to move to 10-5 and move into a position where they controlled their own playoff destiny. Yes, they put up a terrible performance against the Bills. No question. But after that game against the Patriots, it seemed like God was finally smiling upon the Jets. But now on to the big story. What is Mike White's future? The reality is, if I'm looking at this with my noodle and not my heart, I know that White needs to duplicate this. He deserves to be the starter on Thursday. No question about that. Okay, it can't be Flacco. It can't be Johnson. It can't be a rushed back Wilson. Mike White needs to start that game. Okay? Easy. But before we start saying that this guy is going to be the Jets starting quarterback for the next however many years, which is what people were saying after that game, can we see him do it more than once? Remember Matt Flynn? He started the last game of the 2011 season for the Packers and had an incredible game. Completed 31 of 44 passes for 480 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He threw the go-ahead touchdown to Jermichael Finley with 70 seconds left in the game to give the Packers a 45-41 win over the Lions. And there were people saying that Matt Flynn proved that he can be a really good quarterback in this league if given the opportunity. The Seahawks believed it. They signed Matt Flynn to a 3-year deal. He was supposed to be the starting quarterback that year. Then what happened? He got outplayed by a 3rd-round rookie quarterback named Russell Wilson. Now look, Russell Wilson is a future Hall of Famer, but Russell Wilson wasn't always Russell Wilson. There's a reason that Wilson fell to the 3rd round. He was viewed as short. There were real questions about his NFL future. No one expected Wilson to be the starting quarterback for the Seahawks that year. But give him credit, he earned the job, and he never looked back. But the point is, Matt Flynn had the Seahawks starting quarterback job on a silver platter, and he got outplayed by a 3rd-round rookie. Why did Flynn have that opportunity? Because of one great game. What happened to Flynn after that? He never started a game for the Seahawks, bounced around for the next couple of years. The Bills, the Packers, the Raiders, back to the Packers, and he retired with only 7 starts to his name. This is a guy who signed a 3-year deal based off one big game, and he only started 5 games after that. The reality is, White needs to do it again before we start saying that the Jets have a real quarterback controversy. At this very moment, they have the makings of one, but they don't have one. I mean, not for nothing, but think about that offense that you saw yesterday. It was full of trick plays and short passes. No pass that Mike White threw went 15 yards in the air. I mean, give him credit. He took what the Bengals were giving him. He wasn't pushing the issue, which is smart. He killed the Bengals via a million cuts. There's more than one way to win a football game. White won by being systematic with his passes. Now give him credit because he executed fantastically, completed 37 of 45 passes. But I also want to commend Mike LaFleur for calling a game that played to White's strengths, that let him throw quick passes, that didn't put too much on his shoulders, that let him get easy completions, get his confidence going. This was really a game where LaFleur had nothing to lose. So he was going to call a conservative game because that was the only thing he could do with White at quarterback. You're not going to have him throw 50-yard passes. But he also emptied out the playbook with gadget plays. Give LaFleur a ton of credit for calling the best game he's ever called. I'm not trying to take anything away from what White did. I'm just saying, give LaFleur a ton of credit also. This guy was getting killed by everyone, including me. He rebounds by calling a sensational game. Maybe he's starting to get it as a coordinator. I hope he is. But is that game plan going to work again? Now that there's film on it, is it going to work again? Is that sustainable against a really good Colts defense? with a really smart defensive mind at the helm in Matt Eberflus. A guy who's going to get head coaching interviews when the next cycle kicks off. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that it won't work because I picked the Bengals minus whatever it was. And obviously it didn't happen. I went on this show numerous times and said that Mike White isn't an NFL quarterback. I was wrong. But the reality is White needs to do it again. If he does it consistently, then yes, the Jets have a real controversy on their hands. Because if White keeps playing great and somehow leads the Jets to more wins, or at the very least gives them chances to win, it's going to be really tough to put Wilson back in the starting lineup. The second he struggles, you're going to hear fans chanting for Mike White. As much as I like Zach Wilson, his grasp on the Jets quarterback job is not ironclad. It's not like the Jets have a hurt Patrick Mahomes, or a hurt Aaron Rodgers, or a hurt Lamar Jackson, or a hurt Josh Allen. They have a hurt Zach Wilson, a guy who has only started 6 games in the NFL and really hasn't set the world on fire in those games. This does have the makings of a quarterback controversy, but it's on White. White needs to do this again. And if he lays an egg against the Colts on Thursday Night Football, and or he lays an egg against the Bills 10 days after, there's no controversy. You go back to Wilson. There is an opening for White to seize this job and run with it. But there's also the opportunity for Wilson to come back in and make everyone forget about White. I mean, not for nothing, but this can actually be really good for Zach Wilson. Because Mike White and Mike LaFleur and Robert Saleh, gotta give the head coach credit, just proved to Zach Wilson that boring football works. That you don't need to always push the ball down the field and try to force balls into tight windows. If the defense is giving you the underneath stuff, take the underneath stuff. Death by a million cuts works. Hopefully Wilson was watching yesterday, or he'll watch the film at some point and realize, you know what? This works. This way of playing football works. I need to not push the issue so much. If nothing's there, let me go to my safety valve and give my guy a chance to pick up yards after the catch. Maybe this can be good for Wilson. I'll throw another hypothetical at you. The trade deadline's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. There are teams that could stand to upgrade at quarterback. The New Orleans Saints just lost Jameis Winston for the year. Sam Darnold is absolutely useless with the Panthers. Don't let what he did against a dreadful Jaguars team fool you. Geno Smith is a bad quarterback. I think Mike White proved that he's better than current starters. His value is at its highest point ever right now. Would you be upset about trading him? What if the Jets get the pick back that they traded for Flacco? A 6th or a 5th, depending on playing time. What if they get more than that? I don't think it's crazy to entertain the possibility of the Jets trading White. I mean, granted, the fan base would riot. Alright, this guy has one of the best games that a Jets quarterback has had in a long time, and you're trading him? The fan base would riot. I totally get that. But there is logic towards trading a guy at his highest point. White's value will never be higher than it is right now. You want to tell me if he balls out against the Colts, his value will be higher? Trade deadline's passed by then. You want to tell me you can trade him in the offseason? Maybe. Or maybe more appealing options become available. Maybe Nick Caserio becomes more motivated to trade Deshaun Watson. Maybe the Dolphins are ready to give up on Tua. Maybe Russell Wilson becomes available. Maybe Derek Carr becomes available if the Raiders bring in someone that wants to bring in his own quarterback. Maybe Daniel Jones becomes available. That's a risky game to play. To say you're going to trade Mike White in the offseason. Because maybe he lays an egg in his next couple starts. And then his value becomes nil. Look, I don't think White's going to be traded. In fact, I'd put a lot of money on him not being traded. Again, the fan base would riot. And you know that it would kill the locker room. This guy comes in and throws for over 400 yards. It's clear that we can win with this guy. Maybe, just maybe, we can rally and make a playoff push. And now you're trading him? Now you're not giving us a chance to win? It would be a very hard sell to Jets fans and their players. But if a team like the Saints, Panthers, or Seahawks makes a crazy offer, I'd think about it. I'd certainly think about it. Not for nothing, but the Jets are still bad, okay? They're 2-5. I don't want to rain on the parade here, but come on. They're not making the playoffs. They may trade Marcus May. They may trade Jamison Crowder. It's clear they're not going to be buyers. Again, it's a very tough sell to your fans. Like, even if you just trade Crowder, I feel like that's a tough sell. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Jets do in the next 34 hours. But look, Jets fans, enjoy this win. Call Mike White the GOAT. Praise his name to kingdom come, because this is one of the most improbable and biggest Jets wins in a really, really long time. Alright, I'm really happy for White. I'm glad to be proven wrong. I'm glad that I went to MetLife Stadium and saw a win as opposed to my team getting blown out. I'm glad that I got that pick wrong. For a Jets team that a week ago got their doors blown off by the Patriots, to rebound from that and beat a really, really good Bengals team is, to paraphrase the great Sam Spade, the stuff that dreams are made of. Before I let you go, I want to say a couple more things. Firstly, the Jets defense did not play as well as some people would say that they did. You want to tell me that they limited Joe Mixon? Okay, that's fair. You want to tell me they limited Jamar Chase? Okay, that's fair. But Joe Burrow still threw for 3 touchdowns. He still completed 21 of 34 passes for 259 yards. And the Jets defense did give up 31 points. This wasn't a great showing by the Jets defense. They came up big when they needed to. They weren't awful, but they weren't great. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give them a 7. Also, Mike LaFleur needs to stay in the booth. I don't care who's under center. White, Wilson, Johnson, Flacco. LaFleur needs to stay in the booth. Some coaches are just better from the booth. That's okay. Quite frankly, you see more of the game that way. You're going to get a New York Islanders show tonight. Regular episodes of the Jacob Valk Show come your way every weekday afternoon. Tomorrow's show is going to be posted a little later than usual. I want to wait until the NFL trade deadline elapses in case there are any last-minute trades. Usually we don't get them, but given my luck, I'll post it early, and there will be a huge blockbuster trade that gets reported right after the show gets published. So I'm going to wait a little bit to post that show. It is Election Day tomorrow. You are going to get a show. Please, please, please go out and vote. I understand that this isn't a midterm year or a presidential year, but your vote still matters. Local elections still matter. Make your voice heard. Until next time, I'm Jacob Valk, and always remember, if you disagree with me, you're wrong.